Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Big up to everyone locked in over on Chelsea Fan TV as always, and welcome to your daily transfer update. And as always, people, there's been loads going on. Rhys James has been named the new Chelsea captain with Ben Chilwell as vice captain. Is Kepa going to Bayern Munich? Are Chelsea still in the race for Mohamed Kudus? A deal for Tyler Adams is moving closer as well. No real update yet on Moises Caicedo. The fifth bid has yet to go in. There's all sorts going on, as always, with Chelsea, and we are set for a busy 3 weeks before the window concludes. As always, guys, make sure you smash a like on both streams. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't done so already. Big up to everyone in the chat. I'll try and get through as many messages as I can. Remember, people, at 5k subscribers on my channel, there will be a giveaway for a Chelsea training shirt from the new range. So make sure you subscribe. The quicker we get there, the quicker you've got your chances of winning one of those. And I'm delighted to be joined by Pice this evening to talk all things Chelsea, all things transfers. Bro, thanks for coming as always. Really appreciate it. Mate, lots going on. Only one place to start. Rhys James has been named captain. It was going to be between him and Thiago Silva. For you, bro, ultimately, do you think the right decision?
Sorry, Ross. I just snoozed there, so
no, it's all good. You think it's the right decision? The right decision,
yeah.
Reece, for skipper?
Good to be back on. I'm a bit different on it. I don't think it's the right decision personally.
Yeah.
I love Rhys James, but I almost feel like we're trying to rush him and just I don't know. I've had that feeling a little bit, but yeah, I'm not sure how he'll do in terms of like I've never really thought he was a leader or a shouter as much. You know that how I think captain should be, but at the end of the day, you know it's how you are behind the scenes. It's how you are on the pitch in terms of pointing instructions and that type of thing. And obviously, I guess the biggest thing is like he needs to just stay injury free, really, because not really much point having a captain who's never really available. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's great for him. Love Rhys James. Hopefully, he does well this season. I have no doubts he will if he can stay fit. But yeah, personally, I felt Silva should have had it, and Reece should have had like a year to sort of learn that role under him. Personally,
Mate, are you surprised that Silva's not even vice captain? Because I don't know if it's officially confirmed, but it's reported it's going to be Ben Chilwell. Now, look, I like Chilwell. I think he's shown good leadership qualities around the group, certainly in this pre-season tour and whatnot. And it's mad to think that he's one of the more senior players at the club now. But I mean, does that to you indicate that, maybe Pochettino wants something a bit more for the long term? And it could have been easy to give Silva the captaincy for a year, but he's more than likely to leave at the end of this season. Do you think that's maybe part of Pochettino's thinking rather than making like another change in 12 months' time? Just go with what you were going to do in a year's time, potentially.
I'm not sure. I do think it's a bit strange that he hasn't got it, vice captain or captain. But at the same time, like, does Silva really need an armband to?
No, exactly.
So, like, everyone knows he's still a leader on the pitch. So yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how much he plays this season as well. How often does Disasi actually start? I mean, we bought him for nearly £40 million, but Silva is Thiago Silva at the end of the day, and yeah, I think it'll be interesting this season. I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and we're just getting into that point where we're going to find out. Liverpool on Sunday. It's already Thursday tomorrow. Yeah, big up by the way. I'm very excited, but I would have wanted another couple of signings in, to be fair. But at the same time, I think we've done really well in pre-season with a squad which I didn't think would do very well. So,
mate,
maybe
do you remember when that squad, when they released that squad list of a 29-man list to go into the States, and everyone was like, "What the fuck's that?" It's actually done a lot better than we expected, and maybe it goes to show that we do need more players for sure, but we don't necessarily perhaps need as much as we thought. I mean, I still think we need 4 players or whatever, but what we've got is actually probably better than what we thought it was. Do you think that's fair? Do you think what we've actually got now is a lot better than perhaps we thought it was before pre-season?
Yeah, perhaps. I think Pochettino is also a manager that makes players better, and kind of over succeeded at Tottenham. Overperformed that team that Tottenham had. They had some very good players, especially in attack, but their defense and midfield wasn't really star names as such, but they still did really well. So I think if Pochettino's able to like level up the team just overall, and we might like overperform. You know, really like you might look at our starting 11 and think, oh, that's not very good, but then we might beat you 3-0, and it's just like, oh, you know, we play really well, even though we've not got the big names. I think Jackson's been a prime example of that. You know, I didn't think Jackson was enough. Now I do. I still think maybe we get another striker in, but I do think he should be leading the line at the moment, and he massively surprised me. There's been others as well. I think, you know, I'm kind of dreading in the back of my mind Gallagher in a pivot on Sunday. But at the same time, Gallagher in a pivot against Dortmund was really good. So,
Mate, it was a lot better than any of us thought it was going to be.
literally, yeah, I don't really know anymore. Like, I'll go into that game thinking we're going to lose, and we might actually get a result just because of like the way we're playing as a team. I think there's so much like energy and like so even football wise, bro. Like some of the patterns of play and just link up play with Sinners has been really nice to see, and I think they've taken to the tactics and the system very very quickly. Because you know we all said, oh, we'll play 4-2-3-1, but we don't actually know until we actually play that if it's going to be any good or not, or whether that whole transfer plan has to change based on pre-season. But it hasn't really. You know, the 4-2-3-1's been really good. He's tried a three at the back a couple of times, which we were solid in defence, but as
Yeah.
usual, as we were like under Tuchel, we weren't very good going forward. I don't really like that 3-4-3 formation. So yeah, let's see how we do. But hopefully a few more signings coming. I don't know where the hell this Caicedo bit is. I genuinely don't know.
Mate.
Honestly, over the weekend when he missed training and then that will happen, I was like, yeah, 100% it's happening this week. I don't know
Mate,
anymore. Like, where is
we're
it?
coming to end of Wednesday, and that fifth bid hasn't appeared anywhere.
It's just mental. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully it all
Mate,
just goes out of the blue sometime.
I legit thought he like after him missing the game on Sunday against whoever it was, and then obviously him missing training as well. I'm like, right, he's pushing now. A bid should be going in. I honestly thought, mate, it'd be done this week. I now don't think I now don't think it will be. But just briefly before we will move on to that in a sec, bro. But just thoughts quickly on Chile as vice captain. I don't know how many people expected that. With given Rhys James's injury record, I mean, Chile's injury record's not the best either, or it certainly hasn't been over the years. Hopefully, these two have put their fitness concerns behind them. But Chilwell could well be captaining the side for a number of games this season. I mean, what have you made of his kind of emergence into sort of a leadership role within the club? Because certainly, if you look at a lot of the preseason, look at a lot of the content that was done by the club in the preseason, he plays quite a prominent part, and he seems to be someone that is taking to the role of looking after sort of some of the younger players. He particularly seems to have taken Mudryk under his wing and things like that. I mean, what are your thoughts on his role in the side now?
I don't like it, to be honest with you.
No,
I don't know. I just think it's crazy personally, but I don't know. Maybe it's not as crazy as I'm making it out, but I just don't think he should be anywhere near that spot yet. I know he's been here quite a long time, so is Kepa, and Kepa, to be fair, does like we saw him basically tell tactics to the team last season. That's how like stupid our managers were. But yeah, I mean, he has done elements with Mudryk and that sort of thing. I don't know, man. I just think it's strange. I would have given it to so many people before him, personally.
yeah, no, I hear it. Ultimately, like as long as he performs well on the pitch, I think it's the same with everything, mate. As we said, like right,
Yeah.
the armband, yeah, you're the captain or whatever, but you don't need an armband to be a leader necessarily. So
It's like kit numbers, ain't it? It's like that kit number debate. It's like, well,
yeah.
you got number 10, but I don't really care whether you're number 77 as long as you perform on the pitch.
Well,
You know what I mean?
well, this is exactly it, mate. But yeah, I mean, look, Rhys James captain. It's a new era at Chelsea. I mean, John Terry was named captain at 23, won the Premier League the next season. Rhys James is 23. He's been named captain. Probably not going to win the league, but it's that I'm pleased to see it. He deserves it. He gets the club inside out. He's a world-class player. We just got to hope that his injury issues are behind him, because we can't afford to have a season where he's missing large chunks again and Ben Chilwell. These guys need to really have a season where they're fully fit for the vast majority of it. I mean, bro, when was the last time Rhys James was fit for a whole season? Like,
yeah, it was a while. Maybe I don't think has he even ever been fit for a whole season for us.
I don't think he has. So I mean, hopefully these injury issues are behind him, because if he's captain now, they're going to need him to be available most weeks. But it's great to have it. I mean, I get your points on the experiencing. Maybe we've rushed him a little bit too soon. I hear it, but yeah, I think it's a good choice. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does, and you can be sure that if he scores on Sunday, there'll be absolute limbs in Stamford Bridge with him scoring. But bro, let's move away from this, mate. The main news before this Rhys James news came out was that of Kepa. Now, obviously, kind of late last night, early hours of the morning, the report started filtering through that Kepa was wanted by Bayern Munich and Thomas Tuchel's elite talent ID that we know so much about. Subsequently been confirmed this morning by various further people that Kepa's on the list. Bayern want him. I think he's on the list with Bonu, I think, who is the Sevilla goalkeeper. I think he's on the list as well with the keeper at Ajax. I forget his name now, the Argentinian guy. But Bayern Munich are planning to present their first offer to Chelsea for Kepa in the next days. I mean, probably going to be a loan. We've seen this before with Tuchel in terms of we're at the stage in a transfer market where Bayern have got no defensive midfield player, no centre forward, and no goalkeeper. So he's kind of at panic stations. But first thing first, mate, did you expect this news at all? Because, mate, this was the last. I'll be honest, expect anything with Chelsea, but this was the last thing I was expecting to wake up to.
Yeah, I mean, it was the last thing I was expecting to see on my timeline at like 1 o'clock or whatever, whenever this came out. Like, this wasn't even the first guy who even reported it. It was someone from Germany.
Yeah.
I think it was Kerry Howe and from Sport One. And I followed him and I was like, wait a minute, this has to be like, he had this verified badge. And I was like, is this actually real? Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I clicked on his profile and I was like, oh, I was so excited and nothing was really done. But yeah, I mean, I'd love for Kepa to go personally. I'd absolutely love it. But it's a hard one because if he goes, then we need to sign another goalkeeper. We've just bloody signed a goalkeeper, so I don't know how realistic it is. But at the same time, you know, Bayern Munich come for you. You know, Tuchel, he didn't really start Mendy, but I always remember that like embrace at Tottenham away that they had. So I think they do have a good relationship. So, and I mean, you know, if Kepa has been told that maybe Sanchez is actually the number one because he's got a 7-year contract, then maybe he does go. I don't know, but his wages are very high, and it seems they want a loan with option to buy as well, which is interesting. But if I'm the directors, bro, honestly, I don't rate this guy at all. Honestly, I'd bye bye. Honestly.
Yeah, no, bro. I hear you. I mean, I probably rate him a bit more than you do, but I look at it, and this is probably from Chelsea perspective. I think this is probably like they weren't expecting this interest. I think it's clear that Kepa is going to be pretty tricky to sell him with 3 years left on his contract and 190 grand a week wages he's on. So a loan deal is probably going to be the only way to get rid of him. Like you, mate, I actually agree. When people are saying that, oh, Robert Sanchez, we're going to go and sign a new goalkeeper next summer. I agree with you, mate. I actually think Sanchez is the long-term number one. The people go on about Manyan and all this sort of thing. I'd love him to come, and that may still happen. But I actually think that Sanchez is going to be the new number one at the club, and they're just waiting to find a way to get rid of Kepa. Maybe Kepa starts the season and Sanchez displaces him partway through. But I think Sanchez is going to be the new number one. If Kepa does leave on loan, though, for me, it needs to make sense for the club because we've already got 4 positions. We already need to sign 2 midfielders and we need to sign a striker and an attacking midfielder slash right winger. To add a goalkeeper to that list for the rest of this month makes things very busy. And so for me, a loan deal would only make sense if there's an obligation to buy at the end of it. Otherwise, we're just kicking our problem 12 months down the line. And we try and get rid of him next summer when he's got 2 years left on his deal. He won't be offered a new deal. So we have to kind of hope there's some form of takers. I mean, how do you see this one going? Would you see the club just sanctioning a straight loan? Because for me, that doesn't really make much sense.
No, I don't think we'd loan him. I would, just because, I mean, even if we loan him, I think he's got 1 year left after that. So
no, he's got 3 years. Yeah, So after this season, he'll have 2 years left.
all right. Well,
yeah.
I thought he had 2 now. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, mate, he's signed a 7-year.
Okay, well then I would loan him, to be fair, because he'd still have time on his contract, and even when we get down to 2 years now, we're like selling people, aren't we? If they won't sign a new deal. So yeah, I would loan him, but I don't think the club will. I also don't think Bayern would pay his wages either. So it's a weird one, but talks are clearly happening or will happen in the next days. So let's just hope for the best, or I'll hope for the best.
I mean, like when you look at it, are you surprised that Bayern are interested in him? Because obviously when Tuchel was here, yes, Kepa played a few games here and there, and he actually performed reasonably well under Tuchel. But Tuchel was very, very much used Mendy as the clear number one. And you look at Bayern Munich. I look at it from Kepa's perspective, and you're thinking, well, obviously they've lost Jan Sommer. Neuer's injured for a bit, and he's had an operation or whatever, and should be back in the not too distant future. You know that Neuer's going to be the number one there. So why would he go as to be a number two potentially or whatever? So I don't know. Do you think Kepa could be tempted by this move?
Yeah, I think he would be, personally. I think he would be. He could end up becoming the long-term number one at Bayern, which I think would be crazy. But yeah, I think because Tuchel's there, I don't no way Bayern would get him. Apparently, it was like a Tuchel request, specific request. So
Hey,
hopefully that means
that's mad, isn't it? Like it's a
it's
specific,
mad.
like a
Tuchel's
specific
saving us,
request,
bro.
mate.
Super
I
Tommy
mean,
Tuchel, bro. Come on, Super Tommy Tuchel.
I mean, his talent ID has always been a little bit sus, hasn't it? But like in all honesty, but I mean, look, let's wait and see what happens. I mean, do you expect any conclusion to this? Probably not this week, but before we move on to alternatives potentially, do you think that Kepa should still start on Sunday now that these links have come out? Do you still think he should start? Do you think he might be swayed? He might have things going on in his mind thinking about the move? Do you think he'd be in the right frame of mind to start the game on Sunday? Because I think without this interest, it was pretty clear that he would be starting on Sunday. Do you think there's any chance now that potentially he doesn't?
No, I think he'll still start. I think Pochettino will basically start the team he did against who did we play? Dortmund, I think pretty much. I would start Sanchez, but familiarity with the defensive line is important, especially against Liverpool. And I think, playing out from the back and stuff like that, Sanchez is good. But like, just because Kepa's had a preseason, like, I feel like, maybe he should be starting just the first game. But at the same time, Sanchez has, he knows KOBEL.
Yeah.
So
I think he was one of his
don't
best
know,
mates at Brighton.
Yeah, so I don't really know if it's that deep to start Sanchez, but I would reluctantly probably start Kepa just because he's had that preseason and throwing Sanchez in a big game against Liverpool. Like, what happens if he has a stinker? Like, it just ruins his whole
Well,
confidence.
yeah.
And,
I mean,
people will be saying he's a flop already. So I don't know.
I mean, I don't know, mate. I mean, I'd look at it, and I think Sanchez will certainly play in round two of the Carabao Cup. No two ways about that. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, mate, if this deal does happen, when do you expect it to be potentially finalised? If it were to happen, I don't think we're looking at this week really. But what are your thoughts on it? Do you think a deal, if he wants to move, could be done pretty quickly?
I don't know because we've got so many other things going on. Like, it's just like where does this place in terms of priority? Like, how quickly do Bayern approach us? I think Sky Germany was saying Bayern wanted this keeper sorted like pretty sharpish. So I'd probably say end of this week to early next week. But if something does materialize, like Friday or Saturday, then I wouldn't start him just because
No, he's not going to be in there.
that mind frame. But if it's just like this report and nothing else happens, then I would start Kepa.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I hear it. I mean, mate, let's move on to potential replacements then. We already said that, we've got a lot of work to do in the rest of the window still, probably 4 players that need to come in, giving ourselves a 5th player to bring in and another goalkeeper is not exactly ideal. But some of the names that have been linked initially, MAMARDASHVILI, the Valencia goalkeeper, who has been one that we were linked with throughout the summer already. And of course, Gregor Kobel at Dortmund as well. If Kepa's to leave, do you fully expect it to be one of those guys?
This is why I'm a bit confused because you've got people like Nathan Gissing who says Sanchez is viewed as the long-term number one, which probably means if he's right that they wouldn't then bring in a KOBEL or I mean, I don't know about MAMARDASHVILI, but KOBEL would definitely be a number one. He's been really good for Dortmund.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, again, it's like money. Like, what if this actually does happen? It puts the club in a difficult position because I agree they weren't expecting this to sort of come up. I mean, there's definitely even been reports of the reason why we didn't get Onana or Maignan is because we couldn't shift our number one, which was Kepa.
Yeah.
So, um, It'd be really interesting. It will be really interesting. I have no idea who we'd go for. I know the club like KOBEL, but again, I think he's pretty attracted to not Bayern Munich, Dortmund. So, I think he's got like quite a good, strong affiliation there, and he
Yeah,
likes being there. So I don't know, man. Like it'd be really interesting. Like, there's no way we'd buy Maignan now, especially if we buy Caicedo. So, I don't know. Like, it'd be really interesting to see. Not really
mate,
sure.
it's a mad one, isn't it? Because again, like if we were to get rid of Kepa, then it kind of makes us think we've jumped the gun in signing Sanchez. Because are we then going to go and sign another number one this window? I think not. I don't know if we go for a more experienced keeper as a backup, or do we still try and bring in another younger keeper? But if Sanchez is here for the long term, then it puts us in a it puts us in a difficult position. It really does. I don't really know what's going to happen here, to be perfectly honest. But I think Bayern are looking to make a decision pretty quickly. So I agree with you, mate. I think by at least Monday we should have some sort of answer as to whether whether Kepa's going to stay at the club or not, and then we quickly need to go and find another goalkeeper because Salina's gone out on loan, and then we'd end up with Bettinelli as the backup potentially. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. I mean, if I had to push you for an answer, mate, do you think Kepa will still be a Chelsea player this season?
Yeah, I do. I think it might be one of those stories where there's definitely something in it, but I don't think it will go past interest.
Nah,
Personally.
I agree on that, and I look at someone like Banu at Sevilla or Bono, whatever he's called, and I think he's actually a very good goalkeeper. Maybe that suits Bayern Munich better. I don't really know.
He's on their list
Yeah, he's
apparently,
on the
but
list, isn't he?
they
Yeah,
don't want they don't want to pay. I've read that. I think Sky Germany said they don't want to pay the price or something. Like Bayern are very because they want it. They're basically bidding 100 mil for Kane, aren't they? So
yeah.
when Bayern do that, they don't like what I mean. They'll get like a big signing, like they got the Ligt last summer. They might get Kane this summer.
They signed Kim Min Jae this summer, didn't they?
Kim
As
and Jay,
well.
yeah, but
Yeah,
he was not like nowhere near 100, right? But
yeah. It's
yeah,
still a lot of money.
they sign players, but then they can also be very, very stingy as well. Like it's weird with them.
No, they are weird. They clearly don't want to spend too much money. But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this one and how it develops over the next few days. But yeah, certainly, definitely unexpected interest in Kepa from Bayern Munich. He's on a short list, so before people start getting excited that he's about to go out the door, there's still quite a long way to go before this one potentially happens. But it was certainly interesting. I don't think any fans were expecting. I don't think anyone at the club was particularly expecting either. By the way, guys, before we move on, there's over 200 of us locked in here. Only 86 likes on my channel, guys. We need to get those likes up. Let's get it to 100, guys. We're going to aim for 200 likes again, like we got last night, people. We're going to aim for 200 likes. So don't freeload the content. Come in, quickly click that thumb button, guys. It massively helps out. So please do smash a like. Let's get this to 100. Let's try and get this to 200 likes if we can. But 12 more to the 100 mark, people. Let's keep it going, guys. And also, people, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel, people. There, it's going to be a giveaway at 5K. We're about 25, 30 subscribers away from 4.6K. So we can try and hit 4.6K tonight, guys. Hit the link in the chat. Subscribe. It won't take you away from this screen. It takes seconds. It massively helps me out. There's 436 of us here across both channels. So, yeah, just click the link and help me on the journey to 5K, guys. It'd be greatly appreciated. Let's move on to midfield, bro. Before we start talking about Caicedo, it looks like a deal for Tyler Adams is getting a little bit closer. Understand Chelsea are now actively working on Tyler Adams' deal. Talks ongoing between the clubs and personal terms being discussed. So it's just a case of how are we going to pay that 20 million relegation release clause. Now, for me, mate, when I first heard these rumours and stuff, I was a little bit unsure. He certainly wasn't amongst the name of my list of players that I would have had down signing for Chelsea this summer. But the more I've looked into it, he's 24 years of age. He's got good leadership qualities. He's got European experience at Leipzig. He's got experience in the Premier League with Leeds. His defensive stats are very good. He wins a high percentage of his duels. He's 24 years of age. And as a rotation option and his price, I think this is a very decent deal. I mean, what are your thoughts on it, bro?
I mean, I don't know. It's not exciting. I've recently found out that he's also an Arsenal fan growing up, so that puts me off a little bit.
No.
But he's been publicly very supportive of Arsenal. But we've had loads of players from Arsenal, and supported Arsenal, so it doesn't really bother me that much. But I think it would be quite a nice backup option. He's incredible at like winning the ball and tackling and stuff like that. It's just other than that, I don't know. I don't really think he's that good on the ball. I don't think he's really good at that passing. Always remembering a really good game against England in the World Cup. That's where I'm mainly known from. Watched a little bit of Leeds, but not much. But yeah, I think he's a nice depth option. He's obviously a very cheap signing. But what I'm just a bit confused about is like we had Santos play the whole preseason as a number 6, do perfectly fine against Premier League
Yeah.
opposition. And now, like, what are we doing with him? Why are we like? I don't understand because it's probably gonna be Caicedo Adams. You're not gonna have a third number 6, so is Santos going to be back up for Enzo? I don't know. And then also you've got Ugo Chukwu who will go on loan, but what's the
Yeah.
long-term plan? You know what I mean? Like it just seemed a little bit confusing to me, but I don't know. It'd be all right. I guess it'll be all right. The only other thing, I didn't even know this yesterday. It's really annoyed me.
He's
He
injured.
is injured. Like what?
Yeah, mate.
Like what is this position?
He's out till
Elise is
September, I
injured.
think. Yeah.
Elise is injured. Adam's injured. Like, can we sign some fucking fit players? Like, it's so annoying.
Yeah, mate, I hear you on that one. It's yeah, mate, it's a mad one, isn't it? Like when you think about it. Look, I look at it, and I suppose you could look at it. We're going to probably play 4-2-3-1 predominantly next season. We're going to have 2 options in, like obviously 4 options for the pivot. I mean, if we had Enzo and Caicedo as the first choices, and then Adams and Santos as the backup options, I mean, I don't think that's that bad. I don't think it's too bad. I mean, do you think the only reason we're going for it is because he's cheap, or do you think we actually like the player as well? I mean, we must have done some research, some due diligence on this scouting and all sorts. Do you think
Right.
do you think he's someone that can fit in well?
I 100% guarantee you they've gone on some whatever scouting data site they have because they're big on data, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because he ranks so high. I've seen myself. He ranks so high on like tackles. So I feel like they've just thought he'd be perfect DM. He's a good age. He's played in Leipzig as well. He's got a bit of experience. He's captain, I think, for the US national team now.
yeah. He is. Yeah.
So I think he ticks a lot of boxes. As long as we get Caicedo, then I don't really care that much. I'm just a little bit concerned about the long term plan for Ugo Chukwu and Santos. But yeah, just
Well,
get me that man on the right,
and there's
man.
Casadei as well.
Yeah, but he's not really a number 6, so I
No,
don't
that
think
that
he
that
needs.
no, that is true. But yeah, look, I think this Tyler Adams deal is very easy to get done. Any reason potentially why we would be trying to get 20 million in more favourable payment terms? Are we not in a position to just pay 20 million? Like why would we?
I think we would. I think it's just FFP, and if we can get better payment terms, nice. It helps the books even more. I think we did the same with Jackson, right? We
Hmm.
found the way around it.
Well, yeah, we paid more
So
than a
yeah,
release clause, so we could structure it in a more favourable way for us.
yeah.
Maybe we do the same for that. But I mean, do you expect this deal to be done this week? I think this is one that if Adams wants to move, we clearly want him. 20 million quid. That shouldn't be a difficult deal to get done.
Yeah, no, this should get done, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get something tomorrow or I don't know Friday. It should happen very quickly. Let's be honest, it's not a hard deal to do. So
No,
yeah,
no, it absolutely isn't a hard deal to do. Talking of deals that are fucking hard to do, Caicedo. Obviously, we had our bid rejected of 80 million quid a while back, at least a couple of weeks ago now, I think. We touched on it a little bit earlier. He missed the game against Rayo Vallecano. Brighton saying he was injured. The directors coming out commenting about it. He's saying he wasn't injured. He missed that game, missed training on Monday, trying to force a move. But subsequently, no 5th Chelsea bid has appeared yet, even though it's reportedly was meant to be imminent from the start of the week. We're still waiting for it. Mate, what news have you got on this? Any updates? What's going on? Why has a 5th bid not gone in yet?
I've got a feeling it might have gone in, and we'll only find out the answer whenever they decide to accept or reject it. And I think the thing is like, by the way, that's just speculation. I don't know. I just have a feeling
Yeah.
because over the weekend, he was missing training, and they come out 100%. He's not injured. There's no way he had
Yeah,
muscle
yeah,
overload or that nonsense. He 100% pushing, and it's been confirmed by Fab that on the players' side, it was a clear message.
yeah.
I think perhaps the bid has gone in and we just don't know yet. But at the same time, maybe they're still like discussing the structure of it, and because it's all this verbal conversation. I don't really know. But yeah, I'm just nervous to be honest because we've gone so far with this, and if we don't get him, he's literally it couldn't be like a bigger failure, honestly. Like,
Well,
but yeah,
I mean, we're fucked if we don't get him. I mean, look, I think one thing's clear, mate. He's not playing against Liverpool Sunday, is he?
no, no, not now. I wouldn't say has to be registered by Friday. So
We
unless we
definitely.
get him tomorrow and he does a medical and then he plays like Felix did on like one day or whatever, then I don't even know if Pochettino is the sort of manager to do that either. I've
What the
got a feeling that
fucking yeah.
Pochettino likes a settled sort of team, and like yeah, it's just disappointing because if we could have got this done Monday or Tuesday, it would have just been so ideal to have him, man. But
Oh, mate, it would have
it's
been.
such a long ass saga, and it's so boring, and it's so like repetitive, and can something just actually change? Like, can something either happen or not? Because I'm tired. I'm sick of it. Honestly, I put a poll out the other day. What was the more like annoying saga? Enzo with Benfica or Caicedo with Brighton? And I was expecting everyone to say Enzo because that Enzo saga, mate, there was nothing like dealing with Rui
Yeah, but
Costa.
at least we
But
knew. At least we knew when the end was. Like it had to be by the end of January.
exactly, and
Well,
everyone, like 75% of people, my followers, voted Caicedo. So it just goes to show that we went through Rui Costa, Benfica, our whole board was in Portugal. We're all on Fab's deadline day stream, and still,
and
majority of
wait,
people hate
yeah,
this one more. So that's how like sick and tired it's been. It's maybe
yeah,
someone you could poll in the chat or something as well, because I'd be interested to see if it's sort of similar or
mate.
not.
I'll do that now. I mean, bro, do you still expect this to happen? By the way, do you still think this will happen?
Yeah, I think it will, but when it happens, I don't know. I think it will happen though. Because
Yeah,
Caicedo is like I was listening to well, first off, De Zerbi's his tone has completely changed.
it's massively changed.
In
Yeah,
his
from pre-season to now,
yeah,
it's changed.
they had a game the other day against some Spanish team, and after I watched his interview on YouTube press comments, completely changed, almost like indirectly saying, Caicedo's gone almost. It's on Brighton's YouTube channel if you want to watch that. And then I
Yeah,
think couple of the executives, director came out, technical director, and then the Paul Barber, the CEO, I
yeah.
think we're negotiating with. They were both like,
Mate, when
you
does
know,
that when does that ever happen, by the way? Directors coming out commenting on fucking injuries.
yeah, and but they were talking about the transfer on Sky Sports, and it was just like these Brighton guys were like, oh, there's still a lot of time left in the window. Let's see, sort of thing. And I'm just like, I just almost swearing at my screen, like, what are you on about time left in the window? Like these guys just want to drag it, and like, can Chelsea just go in and do it? Like, just attack it. Like, stop. So annoying. But
I
yeah,
mean, look, mate, I hope this is not a deadline day sort of thing, but do you think it could potentially go to a deadline day?
um, I mean, when is deadline day? Is it
I think it's
September?
like second or third of September or something.
No, I think it'll be done next week. I think late next week. I'm predicting.
Yeah, well, mate, I'm hoping so. I mean, we're obviously not going to have him for Liverpool. If we can get him for West Ham, that would be ideal. But maybe his debut might not be till fucking Luton at home potentially.
Oh
Who
mate, don't. It's hurt my brain, honestly.
mate, it's too long. I mean, this is mad. I mean, just like purely speculating, what do you think this next bid's going to be? Do you think this will be the final bid? I mean, it has to be. We've already done four. This will be a fifth bid. What sort of numbers do you envisage this next bid to be?
I think it will be. I think it will be around £90 million. I think.
Well, all in or with add-ons as well?
I think maybe it will be 85 plus 5, or maybe 80 plus 10. I don't know, because like the thing is, it's not really about the number. It's more about the structure, in my opinion. Like from what I've
Yeah,
heard as well, I think like we could get him under 100 million. So, like for example, we could get him for 85 if the payment structure's like good for Brighton, so they receive it quicker, the money quicker.
yeah, yeah.
But if we pay 100 million and it's like 5 or 6 payments, then Brighton might take that, but then it means they get the money less sooner. So
Yeah.
it's also about like what we offer. I think this has been the hold up because Brighton are probably like, yeah, just pay it in 2 or 3, pay it in 2 or 3, pay it in 2 or 3, pay it in 2, and they probably asked for KOBEL 100 times. And
Oh, mate.
Chelsea, with the amount of money we've spent, we're probably trying to get this done in 4, 5, 6 payments. And I think that's the hold up. And how long are those payments? Like, when is the first payment in 6 months? Is it in 12 months? Is it now? You know what I mean? Like, these are all things you have to talk about. And this is the problem. When you talk to someone like Brighton, they're just tough negotiators. And I hate to say it, but maybe we would have overpaid. But I honestly think if
Well,
Bowley was in charge,
I don't think it's going to matter if we've overpaid. To be perfectly honest, like if we've
Bowley
overpaid,
would have had Caicedo in by now if he was still sporting director.
why do you think he's not stepped in?
Because he trusts them, I guess. He's just leaving him to it. I think probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of it, guys. On the Caicedo, there isn't really any more updates. We're still waiting for that bid to go in. Chelsea are still confident they'll get the player, but we're kind of as we were. There isn't really any further updates on that deal. So hopefully it will get done at some point soon, people. We are waiting for that deal to get done. Fuck knows when it's going to be, but I'm still confident it does happen. But yeah, we're just going to have to bide our time and sit tight a little bit longer. By the way, people, keep running the likes up, guys. We're on 115 likes. There's 220 of us locked in. Let's get this to 150, guys. We'll try and get it to 200. So hover over that thumb button, give it a click. Don't freeload the content, guys. It massively helps out, spreads the stream to more people and all that stuff. So it's free and it takes seconds. Let's please run the likes up. Let's get it to 150 if we can, guys. Try and get it to 200. I would be very, very grateful. And keep subscribing to the channel as well, guys. About 20 subscribers away from 4.6k. There's loads of us in here tonight, so we can try and hit that 4.6k. It would be greatly appreciated. Hit the link in the chat if you're not subscribed. It takes you seconds, and it does massively, massively help out. So yeah, please do that. Pice, let's move on, bro. Let's move on to attacking midfielders, mate. Obviously, first of all, mate, I know it was yesterday, but I haven't spoken to you about it really. Nkunku injury. What a fucking disaster. Just our luck.
Mate, honestly, I'm sick of whatever curse. Whoever laid this injury curse on us. I don't know whether it was Tuchel when he went to India. I don't know whether it was I don't know who it was, but we have got some mad injury curse. How can we have it just had to be our new signing, didn't it? That was coming in this summer that everyone was excited about, out for 3 months. Just fucking brilliant, honestly. Yeah, no more words on that. It's just, honestly, I thought he'd be okay. I thought maybe a few weeks, but it's never the case. Like, we very rarely get off injuries like, oh, we were lucky there. No, it's always the complete opposite direction. It's so annoying.
Yeah, it is, mate. It's so annoying. Just briefly, by the way, mate, totally unrelated to this, but Arsenal are taking David Raya on a 3 million loan deal with a 27 million buy option. Brentford contract extension. So Brentford get a fee if Arsenal sign and retain value if not. So he's going on loan with an option to buy for 27 mil if they want him. Strange. That's a bit of an odd deal. But anyway, Nkunku obviously injured. He's out. He's missing. Big problems. We needed a number 10 anyway. We definitely need one right now. Mate, I know you're a big fan of João Felix. Some people are, some people aren't. Of course, he'd be open to a return, but Ben Jacobs saying the club haven't changed their position to date, even with the Nkunku injury. Mate, tell me why you feel that Felix would be a good option for us.
Because he's got bags of potential. I like his flair. I like his dribbling. I know he didn't have the best output, but I just think he's a really good footballer. And I think the link-up play that we could see with Jackson, with Mudryk, with Enzo would be really, really good. I think he's perfectly fit into the number 10 role as well. So yeah, I just think he fits our squad really well. I think he's a good age. But at the same time, I wouldn't buy him right now. I would do a loan plus option. But as it says here, what I don't understand is I perfectly understand if Pochettino doesn't want him. But if the hypothetical, these directors don't want him, why? He literally loved his time here. And I don't understand these people saying he was shit for us. He was not shit for us. He was good for us.
No,
He played well for us, I thought. I don't understand this narrative. Like
I
just
mean,
because he didn't get 10
yeah.
goals.
I mean, but
I don't know, man.
Lampard didn't seem to fancy him though. Like,
Yeah, well, Lampard. I've got a feeling Lampard went to Poch and was, because apparently they had conversations, and he
yeah,
was, Lampard probably went, "Oh yeah, this guy doesn't press like a dog, so don't sign in. Don't worry about his talent and what he could do. He doesn't press, so." It's just it's so annoying, man. But it is what it is. I don't think I'm gonna get my dream, but I'm still gonna be promoting propaganda until, and I don't know, because I love annoying people as well. Everyone's like, "Stop this propaganda." I'm like, "No, I like this player and I want him back at Chelsea." So I'm gonna keep doing shameless prop.
yeah. It's kind of mad, isn't it? It's kind of mad. It's yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? I mean, look, it's no. Are you just on Felix? Are you surprised that there's no there's no other real takers in him apart from he obviously he wants Barcelona, but are you surprised that there's no real other takers for him? I know he's expensive, but would you have expected more clubs to be in for him?
I'm definitely surprised with his talent. I just think I don't know whether, like, of course we don't know what clubs have even maybe made inquiries to Atletico Madrid, but I also don't know like what Atletico Madrid want to do with him, because obviously they're in a position where they would like to sell, but you'd probably look at an expensive loan again, because he was bought for like 100 and something, like 120, 130 million, like back when they signed him. So I don't think many clubs would want to pay the loan fee that we paid, essentially that we did, back in January. So I think that puts a lot of clubs off. And it would just be absolutely insane if he went to Al Hilal. Like he's
What like
personally, he
23
was,
years old as well?
yeah, personally, and I know, like, I mean, it's not difficult because we haven't had that many exciting attackers, but he was the player since Hazard that I wanted to tune into Chelsea for in attack. I wanted to watch him, even when he missed chances and stuff like that. I don't know. I like these type of flair players. This is the reason why I want Ryan Shirky as well, because I think so much potential and just flair and ability, like natural footballing ability, the link up, dribbling. Like I don't know, I just like these players. So it's my type of style that I like to watch. I guess I like watching your Maduekes and your Mudriks and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that as well. But I don't know. I've just always liked Felix. I think he's a really good
No,
player.
no, fair enough, mate. I mean, it's probably not going to happen. But yeah, you just never know in football. But if we go and talk about realistic options, obviously let's start with Mohamed Kudus. Obviously, Chelsea interested. Personal terms were virtually agreed, pretty much. We know Ajax want around 35-40 million pounds. They've agreed a fee with Brighton, but so far on the player side of the deal with Kudus on Brighton, doesn't really seem much of a breakthrough. I see Matt Law saying something on London is Blue podcast, talking about don't rule Chelsea out the Kudus race. Mate, do you think we are still keeping half an eye on Kudus? At least he'd be available to play right now.
Um, yeah, I think so. But I feel like there's something going on with Brighton and Chelsea here with this player. Like I feel like I don't know whether we've made some sort of agreement, like, we won't go off the Kudus if, we can get Caicedo at a certain price. I feel like there's something going on there personally, but um, we'll see. Olise's gone a bit on the back burner. There's been no real news for a little while. Obviously, he's injured as well, but we do need that number 10 now, and Nkunku's injured. I know Chukwuemeka will start on Sunday there, but I don't see Poch playing him every game for 3.5 months. So I feel like
No,
we'll
I wouldn't
sign
have
someone.
thought so. Well, certainly not starting every game.
Exactly. So we're definitely gonna have to sign someone.
Mate, who do you think they're going to go for? I mean, do you like Mohamed Kudus? Do you think do you think he's a decent player? Would you like?
Yeah.
Because obviously
I
people
mean,
talk about Kudus or Olise. I mean, I'm fans of both of them. I think Olise is more creative, get more assists, but his goal scoring is not as good. I think obviously Kudus is a bit more versatile. I think he suits probably the Pochettino system and Pochettino style of play a little bit more. He's got that Champions League experience. He's got a bit more of an eye for goal. But I mean, who would you personally have? I mean, do you have a preference, or are you happy with either?
I'm happy with Viva. I really am. I hope. You know what? I hope Shirky comes. He's the one I really want.
That's
Shirky,
that's
or
gone a bit quiet as well, though. Like, do you think
yeah,
we
but
should revisit that?
I think we might revisit it now. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think we might. I think we might have a little look at that one again. Yeah, Shirky for me would be number one, and then I'd probably go Olise and then Kudus. But to have Kudus as your or my third option, like I think he'd be a fantastic player for us. The thing I worry about Kudus is he's not necessarily creative like the other two, and I think we do need a little bit of creativity in that number 10. Like Kudus would be more of a goal scorer. So yeah, personally for me, a creative number 10 is what we need. And
Yeah,
with someone like Elise, obviously plays on the right as well, so I think it's perfect for Madueke and that sort of thing.
yeah, no, I hear it. I mean, when do you think we might start to make a move on this sort of on these sorts of deals, mate? Because obviously we are running out of time. I appreciate that Caicedo is a priority, but surely if we wanted Kudos, we know what the fee's going to be because Brighton have had a fee accepted, and we know that he'd obviously probably come to Chelsea rather than them. So, what do you think we're waiting for on moving for an attacker?
Again, I think there's something there with Brighton where we don't move for Kudus. Personally, I just think that's what's happening. Um, I don't think he's necessarily linked to Caicedo in terms of position, but I think they want Kudus, and I think maybe they could get Kudus and then move. I don't know. Played the Hood. They bought the Hood in or signed the Hood on
Yeah.
a free. So yeah, got Billy Gilmore. So yeah, I think there's something there, but that's why I don't think we're moving for him.
No, yeah, possibly not. I mean, Elise obviously injured until September. Really, mate, really not ideal at all. If we're being honest, there. Do you think that's going to put us like? Do you think that's going to put us off signing him? Should that put us off signing him?
Who?
Elise, should the fact that he's injured till around sort of September, October time, should that put us off signing him?
Uh, no, but I feel like it will. But if we sign Elise and he's injured, we need to get someone else as well. Like have Elise just as the pure. So you'd have Madueke and Elise on the right, and then get a number 10, get a starting number 10 until Nkunku comes back. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously Sterling can play on the right, but Mudryk, we
I
haven't like
mean,
Hudson-Odoi's leaving, so we've only really got Sterling, Mudryk on the left. We've only got Madueke on the right now, so we've only got one right winger, unless Maatsen plays there. But
well,
he's
mate,
kind of
there's reports
yeah,
saying that he might go to
West
West
Ham. Yeah,
Ham, maybe. So
that would be
yeah,
stupid. That would be stupid.
I mean, he shouldn't really, but I mean, obviously, yeah. Let's wait and see what happens. Hopefully, moves are going to come in the next few days or so. The moves are going to have to come. But in terms of who's going to step in for the time being in the number 10 role, do we? I mean, for me, I think it's going to be Chukwuemeka. But do you share those same views? Certainly for the first couple of games, first 2 or 3 games, do you think Chukwuemeka steps into that 10 role?
Yeah, yeah. I think he will. I think he'll keep Gallagher. I think he might play Gallagher against Liverpool, and then if Santos stays, he might try Santos against West Ham. But I think that Premier League experience of Gallagher against Liverpool will probably because you got to remember as well that last team we played against Dortmund, he said was kind of like the almost hinted like that's the team for Liverpool almost. And I think just playing Santos against Liverpool, I'm not saying he won't deliver. Like he could be man of the match, who knows? But I just think there's like that element of risk there, and because Gallagher's had quite a few seasons in the Premier League, I think Poch probably feels he's a safer bet.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, we'll,
I
we'll see
mean,
what happens. I'm interested to see.
mate, do you think? I mean, this is a sort of a bit of a rogue thought that I've had, and a few people in the chat have had it as well. Mate, do you think we could possibly see Enzo play as a number 10 and have a different pivot, maybe Santos and Gallagher? I mean, do you think there's any chance that he could look at pushing Enzo a bit further forward, maybe in certain games? Do you think he could play as a 10?
Mm,
Or
no, I don't.
not quite skillful enough on the ball?
No, I don't. I don't see him personally as a number 10. No.
No, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Maybe just sort of a little thought I was having. I mean, yeah, I mean, certainly he can play further up the pitch, but yeah, maybe not the best for him to play as a number 10. But yeah, obviously we need work to do there. Mate, if you had to say right now, which number 10 do you think we're going to sign realistically?
I mean, my guess is as good as yours. I honestly, I
I've
don't
got no
know.
idea.
Like, I'm really
I don't know.
confused. I
Yeah.
don't know. I've got a feeling it might not even be one of the three we mentioned. It might be someone just completely different. I'm
I
not
mean
sure.
that would be wild. But I mean, Chelsea have kind
Yeah.
of have shown on occasions this window that we absolutely can just pull a signing out our arse without anyone really realizing it. But let's move away from the centre. The number 10 situation. Before we do that, guys, keep running the likes up, people. We're almost at 150 likes now. 13 more to go. There's 214 of us still locked in, people. So, if 13 more of you could hit the like button, don't freeload the content, guys. Just hover over the thumb, give it a click. It does massively help out. I appreciate all the support. So we can get it to 150 likes. That would be greatly appreciated. And we still are 20 subscribers from 4.6. So I'm going to whack the link back in the chat, guys. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. It massively helps out. Remember, at 5K, there is a Chelsea training top giveaway. So the quicker we get there, the quicker you've got your chances on getting your hands on one of those. So for the 450 of us that are locked in, please click the link, click the subscribe button. It takes seconds and it massively, massively helps out. Bro, we were centre forwards. We need one. Obviously, David Washington is signed. He's going to go to Strasbourg, presumably. He's not going to be part of the first team. Eli Wahi, the news has gone pretty quiet on him. Maybe we're not going to get him now that we signed Washington instead. It makes sense not to get him for those reasons. But let's talk about the main centre-forward situation. And we had Romelu Lukaku back at Cobham today. Well, certainly first pictures of him with a kid. I presume this kid's in the academy or whatever. Kid looks a little bit scared to be with him. Obviously, Rom's smiling there. Bro, what are your thoughts? What's going on with this Vlahovic-Lukaku swap deal? Where are we with that?
I would have never found this, by the way. So big up to one of my followers who sent me that and found it on this kid's Instagram. I think it was actually yesterday, but I just said he knows back. But at the same time, I think Malang Sarr was also there, I was told. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to see this guy in this Chelsea kit. I know it's outrageous. It looks just, you know what it is? I looked at this and I thought, oh man, like it looks so right, but it looks so wrong at the same time. Like, I don't know, man. Like Lukaku in that Chelsea kit, just I always felt like it was always meant to be with him here, but this guy's just like, he's a massive clown, let's be honest. Juventus fans have had signs up saying like, we don't want you. He betrayed Inter Milan. He betrayed Chelsea. Like, who is this guy actually liked by? Like, no one.
Mate,
So
he's burnt bridges at every club he's been at.
literally, like, what? Yeah, there's no way he would suit our style of play either. Just the Vlahovic thing. I actually don't know what's going on with that because Fabrizio said like Pochettino was going to decide over the weekend. I also understand that like Vlahovic is not like because the thing is what they're trying to do.
He's not desperate to leave Juve, is he?
No, he's not. But what I was trying to say was like Lukaku, Chelsea are trying to find a solution for him that's not Juve, but Lukaku really wants to go to Juve. So it's like we either hold out, we don't get Vlahovic because I don't really think Pochettino wants him from what I've heard. Even if he ends up joining and Pochettino is like, yeah, I really wanted Vlahovic and all that, I think it'll be PR brief, like from what I've heard speaking to people. So yeah, I feel like the club will be forced to do this Vlahovic swap deal if Lukaku is intent on going to them. And the only other thing we could do is just call this swap deal off, call the negotiations off, just be like, you're not going to Juve, we're in charge of you, and see if he goes to Saudi at the end of the window. But that's a
Mate,
huge risk to take.
it is a huge risk, but I think ultimately, like with the clock ticking down and his options virtually nothing other than this swap deal, and it's clear that Pochettino's not keen on Vlahovic, and he's probably going to have a pretty big. He's probably going to have a pretty big say in the matter, as he should. Lukaku with the Euros coming up next summer, a big part of Belgium's national setup. He's going to want to play football. He can't afford to have a year out. So I think if it comes down to it, whether he virtually has a year not playing or go and play in Saudi, I think he will eventually take the Saudi deal. But it's a dangerous game to play. I mean, how do you see this one working out? I mean, because I look at it, if Vlahovic ends up coming, surely that's going to be against Pochettino's wishes, and that's not going to be a good position to really be in from the off. But I mean, just on Vlahovic, mate, do you actually think he'd suit us? Do you think he's got the right attributes to be a success in this side and a success in the Premier League?
This is why I'm intrigued about Vlahovic because, by the way, he scored again today, which was interesting. He scored against Real Madrid as well, so
Did he?
he's
Fair.
definitely a goal scorer.
Yeah.
But he does have injury issues. He's got some sort of chronic injury issue of his groin. He's not the best at pressing, but he's very good in front of goal. And he'd be a different profile to Jackson, less of a runner, but more of a box poacher, a traditional striker, I think, if you will. And he did incredibly well at Fiorentina. I don't like judging players that play under Allegri because it's like judging players under Conte for me, especially
Yeah.
not anything other than the title-winning Chelsea Conte was just ugh for me, honestly, since I've
Yeah.
watched him. So yeah, I don't really like judging him. I mean, like the most creative players he has at Juventus are like Kostic and like Cuadrado, for God's sake. Like Di Maria
God,
moved
it's
to
gone now, isn't it?
Benfica.
Yeah.
Yeah, Di Maria went to Benfica, and he plays in like a 3-5-1-1 or like a 3-5-2, and it's like, and he doesn't even have the worst record for Juve. It's just like,
He scored 10 goals last year, right? And that's a
yeah,
full season for him. It's more goals
yeah,
than anyone managed to score for us. So,
exactly. So
like,
I don't really understand why people are that like. I'm not saying I'm for him, but I don't understand the people who are like, absolutely not, don't want him. Like,
no,
why?
look,
Give me
mate.
some reasons because I don't really adds up.
Yeah, no, mate. I'm exactly the same. I'm not dying. I'm not desperate for him to arrive at the club. But at the same time, he's a better goal scorer than anyone we had last season, and certainly a better goal scorer than we've had for in the last few years for sure. I mean, ultimately, mate, do you think this swap deal is going to happen? Because Poch is keen to add another striker if we can, and I can't see who else we add if this swap deal doesn't go through.
So was it, mate?
I was going to say, mate, who do you think we could add at centre forward? Because if this swap deal doesn't go through, Poch is still keen to add another forward if he can. I don't see what other options there are, unless we kind of pluck someone out of nowhere that we could add as another forward. Do you think it really is this swap deal, or we get no other striker?
Yeah, I do think so. I think if we get Vlahovic, I think Broja will go on loan. And I think if not, I think Broja will stay as the backup. I think it's that simple. I don't see us signing another striker because we weren't planning to. This was an opportunity presented to us, and I think we're thinking about it, as far as we know. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Also just quickly on strikers before we move on. Do you think the signing of Washington puts a stop in our pursuit of Wahi? Because surely we're not going to end up with Datro Fofana, Broja, Jackson, Wahi, Washington. Like, we don't need that many. Do you think the Washington deal means we're out of the race for Wahi?
I mean, I wouldn't. I would say no with this ownership. They're just buying every youngster, but I mean, maybe it's linked to be fair because I was seeing reports that Chelsea were a little bit away from the price tag, a few million euros. So potentially, yeah, potentially. Some people were even telling me that why he was already good enough to actually be in our first team,
He
which
scored
I thought was
20. He scored
interesting.
20 goals in
He did. He's very
last
good,
year.
and
Yeah,
also the Strasbourg loan I think is an option because like a not an option, like a potential blockage to
yeah.
the deal because obviously whoever he plays for, I forgot the team, is better than Strasbourg. So
Montpellier, yeah.
Montpellier, that's it. Yeah. So why would you go down? I don't know. Like I think that's been an issue. Like I was thinking the same with Ugo Chukwu. Like Rennes are better than Strasbourg. Why would
Yeah,
you
they are.
go playing to Rennes? Like I know you're owned by Chelsea, but still, why would you play for a worse League One team than you did the season before? That doesn't make sense in my mind. But yeah.
No, it doesn't at all. I was going to get to this super chat quickly, mate, and then we'll just move on to the last couple of little bits. Mate, Texas Blue asking you, Pice, what's your prediction for where Chelsea finish in the league if we just sign Caicedo but no one else?
Well, that means Chukwuemeka starts or Gallagher starts in the number 10 every game
Yeah.
and for 3.5 months. So I think that could definitely affect things. I'm not saying Chukwuemeka is bad, by the way. I like him. I just don't think he's like a number 10 personally. I think he's better playing deeper, but just Caicedo, no striker, no attacking
No,
mid,
just Caicedo signing, mate.
no right wing depth, no nothing.
No,
Just
no, nothing.
Caicedo.
Just
I would
Casado.
say, I would say like seventh. I'd say seventh
Fair.
or eighth.
Nah,
Yeah,
fair. Anyway,
but
thanks for big up for the super chat as
yeah,
well. Guys, again, you can donate using the super chat function to guarantee your comment gets read out. So if you do want to donate, it's greatly appreciated. Feel free to use that super chat function. Last couple of little bits, mate, before we wrap up. A couple of loan moves. Before we get into that, guys, 4 likes from 150. There's still 190 of us locked in. 4 more people need to smash that like button so we can hit 150. So, there's definitely 4 of you that haven't hit it. So please do hit it. Let's get to 150, guys. It would be massively appreciated. So run the likes up, people. Bro, Cesare Casadei has joined Leicester City on loan. What are your thoughts on that loan deal? Obviously, it's not a Premier League loan and it's not a Serie A loan, perhaps that they were hoping for, though Genoa, I was seeing, were interested. Casadei to Leicester, I think that's a really good loan move for him. Going to be playing in a side that is probably going to be challenging to win the championship. He should be playing most weeks. It should be very good for his development. Are you a fan of this one?
yeah, I am. I think he'll do really well there. I think he could get a lot of goals. I really do. I think if he plays in the right position and the manager's good, I think the manager's also Italian, which helps. Yeah, I think Leicester are one of my favourites to go up. So yeah, I think he'll help them a lot. I think he'll do really well in the championship. He's big and physical as well, and he suits that league. I think perfectly.
Yeah, should hopefully get a lot of goals as well, potentially, from midfield. We've seen he's kind of a goal scoring midfielder. Did you always expect him to go on loan? Was there any part of you that thought, oh, maybe he might hang around in the first team squad?
No, I've always thought he'd go on loan. Personally, I don't think he's quite ready yet. On the
No,
ball, if he gets better on the ball, like then yeah, he could be really good. I think.
yeah, no, bro, I hear it. I think he could be good, and I'm excited to see how he develops for sure. In terms of other loan moves, Lewis Hall, Felix saying that he's going to sign a new contract. I think 6+1 or 5+1, one of the two, before going on loan to Crystal Palace. I know you're a massive fan of him. You feel that he probably should have stayed and been part of the squad for this upcoming season, but a loan move to Crystal Palace, obviously playing under Roy Hodgson, not the most progressive manager. How do you see that one working out for him? Do you think that's a good loan move?
Yeah, yeah, I do think it's a good loan move. Apart from like, you know what I'm worried about? Like Palace are losing a lot of really good players,
Yeah.
and Roy Hodgson, like for me, I think they should have got rid of him. I know he kept him up, but I think they should have got rid of him, brought in a new manager for the new season because I've just got a feeling that they're gonna concede too many goals and they won't score enough. And I think they could be in a bit of trouble this season, but we'll see what happens. I don't know if Hodgson's the right manager from the start of the season for
I
them,
mean,
but
where do you think he's going to play as well? By the way, because
yeah,
obviously
this will be interesting. This will
because
be interesting.
he says he's a central midfield player. We've seen him play there once for Chelsea in the first team at Anfield, and he got a bit overrun by the occasion. Fair enough, to be expected. But we've always seen him play at left back. Do you think he's going to play left back for Palace, or do you think he could force his way into that midfield?
I would suspect he would play left back, but they've got Tyreek Mitchell as well, who I
Yeah,
know they rate. So I don't know, but yeah, their midfield is who they got. I see. The thing is, that I don't really know much about
I think they
Palace.
got
Like,
haven't they got someone Decore or something?
yeah, they have, but I don't know the others. I can't remember off the top of my head. Like, don't they play a 4-2-3-1? I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure. Not
Yeah, I
quite
mean,
sure, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't really.
Chelsea obviously send him there for a reason at the end of the day. So
Yeah, you'd expect that he's obviously going to play. I mean, just briefly, mate, do you think this loan, if it goes well, there's no reason why it shouldn't go well? Lewis Hall comes back. If Cucurella doesn't have a good season, or maybe, if Hall is just better than Cucurella, then do you think Cucurella be sold next summer and Lewis Hall be a backup to Chilwell?
Yeah, I understand Chelsea tried to sell Cucurella this summer anyway. Like they wanted to keep Hall, they wanted to sell Cucurella, but there was
There's
no,
no
there,
offers.
there was. I don't know if there was offers. I just know they weren't like there was no like nothing that Chelsea were going to accept. Like nothing formal came in. So I think there was I think Newcastle inquired for
I'm
Cucurella, but
pretty sure
uh,
Atletico Madrid were potentially interested as well.
maybe yeah. But
But
but yeah, there's been no bids where Chelsea have been like, yep, let's sell him, let's keep Hall. So it's just a shame. I think he's a victim of circumstance, to be honest.
yeah, no, I would agree on that. And just very lastly, mate, on Ian Maatsen, Jacob Steinberg saying that there's a possibility he could be sold to West Ham. Do you? I know we spoke before on the show, and we were saying that we couldn't really rule out all eventualities for Maatsen. He could stay, could go on loan, or he could be sold. Do you still stand by that? Has your opinion changed at all? Or do you think realistically all three options are still on the table for him?
But Maatsen,
Yeah.
um, in terms of like, would I keep it?
Well, in terms of like, obviously, Poch has said it. He's kind of part of the plans and stuff for the time being. But if we sign
Yeah,
someone, it could see him perhaps not be part of the plans. West Ham reportedly interested, according to Steinberg. I couldn't rule out him leaving completely. I think there's still a chance, personally. I mean, what do you think?
yeah, because I think if you think of it, like if you look at especially if we bring in a right-sided player or someone can play there, you got two there with Madueke and that guy, and then you've got Sterling and Mudryk, and Matson would almost be like I think he could be like Poch's Swiss Army knife in a sense of like, this is the wild card you bring on, and teams don't really know how to cope with him because he can play in so many different positions. I would like to see him stay, but just for game time wise, I wouldn't be surprised if we loan him. There's no way we'll sell him. If we sell him, I'll be fuming. Like honestly, if we sell him, like after that preseason as well, dumb decision.
Yeah, no, mate, I hear you for sure. I mean, I think that's a pretty good place to round out. I don't think there's any more news. Definitely haven't missed like a Caicedo fucking announcement or anything like that. So yeah, it looks like that's pretty much a decent roundup of the news. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in the chat as always. Thanks so much for getting involved there. Really appreciate it. It massively helps me out. On the way out, guys, if you could continue to run the likes up and please subscribe to the channel. We're about 17 away from 4.6. So, guys, I know I've mentioned it a couple of times. On your way out, click the link, click the subscribe button. It massively helps me out. Let's get another 17 subscribers. I would be really appreciative of it. Pice, thanks so much for your time, bro. It's greatly appreciated. Always great chatting all things Chelsea. If the people, for some unknown reason, don't know where you are, don't know what you do, where is the best place for them to go? And it will all be linked in the description.
Yeah, so my Twitter at cfctvyt. I've got a personal Twitter as well, at Max London's First. And then londonsfirst.com is sort of where I post articles and got a team of writers and post info if I get any, if I'm allowed to post it. And yeah, that's pretty much it for now, bro.
Nah,
Looking good.
perfect. Mate, thanks so much for your time. We'll definitely do this again at some point soon. Big up to everyone in the chat, as always. Run the lights up on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be back tomorrow with daily transfer update. And we've also got a Liverpool preview as well. Opposition preview coming tomorrow night. So 2 live streams tomorrow. Stay tuned for those people. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care. Up the Chelsea and peace out, guys.